Okay, we are live. We are back. Welcome, you guys. Donovan, Saadiq, worldly known as the Recovering Democrat. Welcome back. It is 8:22 a.m. It is October 8th, 2025. Um, there's T'Challa, Mr. Superstar. This is my feral cat, um, Mr. Handsome. I should call him Brando, but he is who he is. Real quick, I got some things that I'm up early because I've got some errands to run and things to take care of. Foggy day today. I love the fall here in the desert. Um, it's really a great place to be. It really is. It's just that everything is going up, everything's getting expensive, and it is what it is. Just want to talk about this. I hadn't been in the city council in a while because it was the summertime and they went on break and all that other stuff. So now we're going into the midterms, and a lot of stuff is going on. Like I tell you guys constantly, quit bitching and moaning if you're not going to your city council meetings, if you're not going to your planning commission meetings. This is what affects you directly. If you want to know what your city thinks about its citizens, go to the planning commission and see what they're bringing to the city, and that tells you what they think about your cities. If they're bringing in uh, BS stores, nickel and diming stores, and the fast food restaurants and stuff, your city's basically a slave city. But if they're bringing in high-end type stores and projects, hey, your tax dollars are actually working for you and benefiting you. I went to the city council last night. As you guys have seen the videos, if you guys are waking up and have saw the video, and other than cursing people out, which I didn't do last night because there was no need to do that, a lot of things got resolved on my end. Now, I always say this: when I hear people complaining and hollering and screaming like I used to do, it's because those people are woefully not informed or they're not involved. Now, within the black community, in my opinion, we can tell you everything about the national election because we saw it on TV. We saw it on social media. Ooh, Kamala Harris, she's the best thing since she went to a HBCU, whatever. But we don't go and look at her paperwork. We don't dive any deeper than what we see on TV, the programming, right? And if that's how you get down, don't have a problem with it. I really don't have a problem with it. You're just a woefully ignorant person. That's all it is. I went to my city council last night, and like I told you guys, I have a road, access road that is behind my house. It's an alleyway. It's an access road, and everybody that's in my division that are adjacent to it, it's a way where we can get to our back of our properties in and out. So we have access according to the agreement to that road, but it's open to the public. Anybody could come through the road. But the question was, who has the liability? Because as we get into the homeless issue here in California, which is getting worse and worse and worse, where do you think these homeless people look to hang out, to find temporary shelter? They don't go to the new areas where the high-end homes are and stuff like that, because the minute that they go there, what's going to happen? Just like the Democrats did when Greg Abbott sent them illegals up to Martha's Vineyard. They send the Kamala Harris's vice presidential residence. They get them out of there within a week, right? They throw the migrants in the black neighborhoods because you can't throw them in the Hispanic neighborhoods, the Dominican neighborhoods, the Jewish neighborhoods. You can't throw them into those neighborhoods because those people will immediately reject them. Tribalism, however you guys want to call it. Only in the black community can you take a group that is non-black and put them there and they will be welcomed. That's just a fact. So in my situation, this road is happening, whatever, so we're having a lot of homeless people back there, right? And there's fires that are started back there. There's dumping that happens back there. There's overgrown weeding that happens back there. And I, being a person who wants to keep my property values up and the value of my home up, I monitor that back road. And in that back road, there's telephone poles. So I know that there's I forgot the word for it. It's an access that is for the public. So when you see public utilities, like a telephone pole or something, easement. It's a public easement for people to use that. That's why the thing is there. So even though the telephone poles are, let's say, on my property, which they're not, but I know in some of my neighbors, it's on their property. They have to give easement to the government to access and service those poles, right? So there's an easement. So if you don't have sidewalks in your community, and I know back east, there's a lot of places like North Carolina communities, there's no sidewalks. But you are entitled to the easement about 10 feet off of, like, let's say a road where you can walk. Of course, you got to be careful because a lot of drivers don't give a damn and they're just driving, right? But it's called an easement, a public easement. So if a fire happens back there and my house is affected and, let's say my property is burned or whatever, who has the liability? So I would call this in, and the city would come and they would cut the brush down. It was no big deal to them. They were like, okay, well, we'll go ahead and cut it. But unbeknownst to myself and to the city was like, we don't own any roads. The city, according to their records, did not own any roads. Now, my city came into fruition in 1984. I was living in Japan with my parents. So I wasn't even here. So, but the city came here. But before we went to Japan, 1980, something like that, we were here. And we were incorporated in the county. So the little towns that were out here in the March Air Force Base, it was incorporated with the county. But March Air Force Base identifies airport designation as KRIV, right? Because it identifies close to the city. So Riverside. So, but we were part of the county. So when Moreno Valley Incorporated became a city, guess what happened? The paperwork somewhere along the line is missing. The contractor that originally built this subdivision and built that road do not exist anymore. So liability-wise, the back and forth with me and the city, myself and the city, it was very confusing. We were very confused at who has this, because as a regular citizen, I'm gonna automatically assume when I see a road, it is owned by some form of government entity, right? I don't build a road. You guys don't build roads. I mean, some of you guys back east that have these big properties, you guys have roads on your property, but it's like a dirt road or something like that because it's a trail that you walk all the time. And some people I've seen actually built their roads on their property, which is awesome. But here in California, you can't do that. Citizens just can't build things. I mean, you can't attach things to your house without getting a city permit to do so because of the earthquakes and the regulations. It's just out of the. For you people that don't live in California, you will be shocked at the lack of freedom you have here. That's why when people talk about, the Democrats and this, that, and blah, 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 the Democrats in California, they don't believe in freedom. They really don't. If you come here, the restrictions that are put in place here as a citizen, look at the businesses that don't want to be here. Look at the liberal lawlessness that goes on in California. See, you guys that don't live in California, you don't have a clue what it's like living under democratic policies. If you lived under democratic policies, you would be pissed off like me too. You really would. Because I'm living it. You guys aren't living it. A lot of you guys that watch my live, you guys are living in red states where it's less government. They believe in less government, not here in California. And look at California now. Look at what California looks like. It's destroyed. This place is destroyed. So anyway, finally, after the back and forth, finding out what is going on, the city staff contacting me. I use the city app. I'm contacting them, emailing the person, and they stayed right on top of it. We went and got records from way back. And we found the original records of where this subdivision was built. I'm talking about, you're looking at the modern age, right? But then you look at paperwork back in the day, it looks so antiquated. It's like, whoa, everything was handwritten out and typed or whatever. It was like looking in a time capsule. Okay, and I was happy about it, but at the same time I was wrong about it. And basically, the when the city incorporated, the city did not, for some reason, move that paperwork over to incorporate that access road. Even though there's telephone poles there and it's all in their records, the road was not, it got dropped off. So last night at the city council, um, the city voted to adopt the responsibility for that access road. And I spoke on it because didn't curse anybody out. I usually go there to curse people out, but to give them their kudos. Like I said, I think I'm a fair person. When the city, my employees do right, I'm going to acknowledge their hard work. Benny, no. Uh, but again, so the liability in that situation is really big that the city has now taken responsibility. So if something happens back there, a dead body, or something's going on, that's really bad. Um, Now there's a legal precedent of who is responsible for that property, and basically it's us, the taxpayer, the citizens. We all now in this city are vested in what happens on that public access road. So inadvertently, one way or the other, I'm responsible, but I'm not going to be totally responsible if something actually happened back there, because without that acknowledgement, a homeless person happens to pass away close to my property, who has the liability? Who? Somebody's house burns down at no fault of their own. Who has the liability? When I go to my insurance company and, let's say part of my property is burnt to the ground, and they say, okay, well, why was this access road opened? Why didn't you do this? Because my property is enclosed, because that's the back of my property. But the fact of the matter is, you can't control how a fire burns up or whatever. So my point is, what I'm trying to tell you guys is, city council is very important. And when I was at city council last night, I'm going to tell you guys, there was a lady who has been in this area longer than me. And a lot of people, you'll be surprised that I'm not surprised, but they've been here way longer than me, but you never see them. Because guess what? It's never a problem until it affects you. Then they want to come and holler and scream. So these people have been living out in the horse track area, in the rural area, because they have horses and they like their little ranches, and they're living out there for years. But guess what? Time has started to encroach on their lifestyle. Now it's a problem. Apartments are going to be put in a certain area, and now they have a problem with it. The warehouses are being put in. It has, a certain, and that's the problem, you guys. Now you want to say something about a project that's been proposed, and now you're trying to stop it. And this is what I'm trying to tell you guys about politics and what happens. You have to get involved at your level. These politicians just don't, well, in the Democratic Party, they just tell you who to vote for. That's the nominee, you vote for that person. But these people just don't pop up. They start from somewhere. Okay, a lot of them start at the planning commission, and then they go to the school board, or the school board, then they go to the planning commission, then they go to the city council, then they go to the assembly, and then they move up, as they do it. So for me, it was a win for me last night. And I'm going to tell you guys, this is how you get things done. You have to get involved. But I get it. You guys are sitting there. You're working 60 hours a week, possibly. Raising your grandkids, raising your children. Some of you guys that are young enough to have the first stage of children. life is hitting you, and you don't have time to pay attention to what's going on because you're trying to Benny, sit down, because you're trying to sleep and you're trying to do what you got to do. But it's so important that you participate, and you don't have to go physically to city council. You have a smartphone in your hand. There's no excuse, and I said that last night at city council. There is no excuse for you not to know what is going on with your city. The only time I really see black people at city council is when something has happened that has affected them. Or they come and complain about a project because their $800,000 home, which is the median income of homes in California, their $800,000 home is now going to be right across the street from a new planned warehouse that the city has put in there. But they show up 3 months after the project has been approved. This is what I'm talking about. Or money that the city is allotting to illegals that's already been approved. Now you want to show up and holler and scream and be outraged by it. In most cities, the agenda is put out there 3 days prior to a meeting so that you can review it. And when that does happen for me, if I'm not going to go to the city council meeting and I have a problem with something on the agenda, I will write an email and I CC the city clerk, the city staff lawyer, and the mayor and my council member. And it's public record. They have to put that in the public record. Either I'm for a project or I'm against it or whatever. You can sit right there at home, watch it on CCTV, what is going on. You could do the replay on YouTube. Most cities do a YouTube replay. So it was Rock'em Sock'em last night, and I'm going to do a video a little bit later, for my local area here, because I'm known as the IE Informer. And it was Rock'em Sock'em last night as a council member got into it with I think Luna is still on the school board. She might not be on the school board, but she's a former school board member and a city council member, and they got into it. And it was just Rock'em Sock'em. I mean, it was, I'm going to say this. If you don't have any money and you want something to do, you and your wife are sitting at home, and you want to see drama, you want to see comedy, you want to see suspense, you want to see all these, you want to be entertained, go to your city council meeting. I mean, actually go. No, don't sit home and watch it. Actually go there. Because surprises came out last night at my city council, which I'm not surprised, but I was kind of shocked that it came out, where nefarious things are being done that shouldn't be done. So example, if you put in an application to be on a commissioning board and you put your first two choices, I want to be on the senior committee and I want to be on the arts commission, right? The protocol is, okay, that's not available, that's not available. Hey, your application, you're done. Somehow this young man ended up on the planning commission, even though he didn't put that on his application. Common sense would tell you, well, he's ineligible because he didn't request to be on the planning commission. Now, black people, I want you to listen to me. I want you to listen to me. The city clerk called the young man for some reason and said, hey, this is not available, this is not available. Would you want to be nominated for the planning commission? They put him on the planning commission, even though that wasn't his thing. Now, I would think he would have to come in and do another application if that's what he wanted to do. The window of the application thing closed, but this city clerk took it upon herself to call Miho and say, hey, this is not good, this is not good, what about the planning commission? Now, in LA, remember there were Hispanic, Latino city council members that were actively plotting to enfranchise black communities. And I don't know what is going on with this particular situation, but me looking at it from what I saw last night, this is how they get down. This is how they get down. If I put an application in there knowing who I am, I don't believe I would have gotten a call to change my options or whatever. I don't believe I would have gotten a call. But isn't it funny how, for some reason, and I'm just speculating, I'm not saying that's the case, but looking at precedents and paying attention to where I live, it is just amazing to me how all of the city contracts basically are Hispanic contractors. Most of your city employees are basically Hispanic. 5 city council members, 1 of them is black. So what I'm trying to tell you, my people, black people or whatever, you have to start participating. You can't sit there and complain and be surprised at the shenanigans these other groups do to plot against you. But you guys want to get all in your emotions about what I say. The question you need to ask yourself is, and it's a simple question, is Donovan right or is he wrong? If you think I'm wrong, so be it. Donovan doesn't operate in gray. That's just how it is. I don't operate in gray. So speaking of my Democratic friends, I'm talking to my friend this morning. And ladies, I'm sorry. The emotional appeal that is within your nature, I can't get down with it. I'm a man. It's just not going to work for me. You guys make decisions based off how you feel. Men are logical. We make things off of what makes sense. So this lady is telling me, and she's a little bit older than me, and she's telling me because I asked her the principles of Project 2025, and she's going down all the things of Project 2025. Oh, 2025. It's so terrible. It's so this. It's so that. So this. And so I told her, do you realize that half of the things in Project 2025 that comes from the Heritage Foundation? It's a think tank, like the Raytheon think tank. They got all these think tanks. But the Heritage Foundation is a pretty modern think tank. The Heritage Foundation helped funded the Tea Party movement, right? Again, I have a degree in American Studies. I know you guys and a lot of people that don't really know me in my adult capacity. A lot of you guys don't believe I have 12, 13 degrees. And I get it because that doesn't make any sense. Who would do that, right? But yet, people could have an associate degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and a doctorate. So you're talking about at least 4 degrees if you go through all the academic steps. You could believe a person can have 4 degrees, but you can't believe a person can have 12 or 13 degrees. Interesting. But the fact of the matter is, I do have 12 or 13 degrees. Don't quote me on it because I just stopped counting. But I know I have at least 12. And one of those degrees is in American Studies. And American Studies is basically, I'm really good at history. Those of you guys that went to school with me, high school with me, give me my flowers. You guys know I was really, really good at history. That's why people wanted to take my notes. I was really good at history. I can say that. That's my love and my passion. And if you ask my brother or my mother, I used to sit at home reading encyclopedias, eating circus peanuts. That's how I would spend my Sundays if all my chores were done. Young people that are watching this, once all my chores were done and it was my day and I wasn't doing anything that day, I would literally sit at home and read encyclopedias. Reading about sharks, reading about different countries, reading about the history of it. I basically can tell you a little bit about just about any place in the world. So this Heritage Foundation that this lady keeps talking about, Project 2025, I said, do you realize half of the ideas of the Heritage Foundation was actually put into place and into law by Democrats? She didn't believe me. I said, okay, that's fine. I asked her, I said, do you realize one of the most significant ideas of the Heritage Foundation was the ACA? She swore up and down I was lying my ass off. And this is what I keep trying to tell you guys. These parties are the same. They have the same agenda. They have the same mantra to create a slave class while the rich keep getting richer. It doesn't matter if you got a D or an R. This is what I'm trying to wake you guys up. How many of you guys know that the ACA, what we call Obamacare, was a Heritage Foundation idea? So some of you very Democrats out there that keep talking about how bad Project 2025 is and it's the end of the world, you benefit from some of the things that the Heritage Foundation think tank came up with. I bet you a lot of you guys didn't even realize that. But I'm a liar. Oh, Donovan, you're just so highly intelligent and giving us your knowledge, whatever. You damn right. Because a lot of you guys are woefully ignorant. You're woefully ignorant. I say this on my podcast all the time. Don't believe what I say. Research what I'm saying. I don't think I intentionally come out here to spew lies. But I woke up. I was born a Democrat. I spent most of my adult life as a Democrat, and it finally clicked for me. And one day it's going to click for you. So right now, all of you Democrats that are dealing with the government shutdown, that is saying that, it's for the health care of the American people. Do you realize that the Heritage Foundation, which is what you guys call now Project 2025, the ACA was part of Project 2025. We're calling it Project 2025 because these are ideas that have been thought of for years ago. Some of the stuff has been implemented, boom, 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 by Democrats. Mass incarceration, cutting welfare, blah, 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 mass wars or whatever. This is nothing new. The Heritage Foundation goes back to the 1960s. The idea of the Obamacare or the ACA was thought of back in the, I think in the early 70s. Don't quote me, but look it up. So right now, the universal health care, which we want public option, is what you're fighting for the we want universal health care for everybody, is a Heritage Foundation point. When I told her that, she refused to believe that. My people, especially black people, woefully ignorant. And I'm going to say that because there's a saying, you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book. Why do you put it in a book? Because black people don't read. It's fact. Not all of us. I'm fairly intelligent. You guys are fairly intelligent. But you guys have heard that term. Our children right now can't even comprehend what they read. And a lot of adults obviously can't do it either. Oh, Project 25. It's just a repackaging of their ideas that they've moved forward. And almost half of the Heritage Foundation ideas have been implemented by Democratic presidents and congressional members. Just wanted to hit that. She just refused to believe it. So right now, what the Democrats are shutting the government down for, universal health care for all, including illegal immigrants, that's what they want, is a Heritage foundation idea and point. So look at it. What you're fighting against is actually what you're for. And vice versa. What you're for is what you're fighting against. Wake up. Wake up. I got some stuff to do. I just wanted to drop that dime to you guys. Please, please start going to your city council meetings. Start going to your school board meetings. If we've got 22 million Latino and other people that have come into this country, why isn't that we don't have dual immersion languages in our schools? Because these children of these migrants have to go to school. And guess what's happening in the schools? These children cannot speak English, so it's slowing down the rest of the class. It's a Latino world order here in the United States. And if our children do not know Espanol, they will be severely handicapped later on in life. Just my opinion. All right, you guys, have a nice day. Again, if you cannot engage in a civil conversation without being disrespectful, the block game is going to start, because I think I've earned it, and I reciprocate that to you guys. Again, nobody could ever say I've gone on to their pages and said something disrespectful, or say something that would be considered hateful or mean or anything like that. When I go on other people's pages, I don't bring my political thoughts and feelings to that person's page. Happy birthday, happy anniversary, congratulations. It has to be positive for me, because that's the way I was raised. Because I know your personal page has your family members on it. Your grandmother might be on it. Your spouse, your children might be on it. So I'm damn sure careful with the language that I use, because it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful to your elders and your family members if I talk to you in a certain way. And all I ask is I get reciprocated the same respect. No, you know what? I'm not even asking for it. I demand it, because I've earned it. You guys, again, have a nice day. Again, the ACA, which is bullshit in itself, because the way they structured it, now most people can't afford it when people wanted the public option. We are the bosses. They are the employees. If they do not do what it is that we want them to do, vote them out. My city is full of corruption, and I fight it every day. Every day. All right, you guys, have a great day. You guys be blessed. Don't get into your feelings. This is not personal. If you're a Democrat, God bless you. If you're a Republican, God bless you. But don't let these people continue to bamboozle you. Think for yourself. I woke up. Not telling you not to vote in elections. I'm not telling you not to do what it is you're going to do. I'm telling you and asking you to think for yourself. Research what people are saying, and then come to a conclusion. Goes back to school. How many sources does the teacher ask you when you did your book report? You got to have 2 or 3 sources. From those sources, you come to a conclusion. I'm good with that. And always remember, I'm not fighting for you guys. I'm not trying to just, some of you guys won't ever wake up. But our grandchildren can't even get the American dream, and you guys are sitting on your hands, fighting for the status quo. I've said it, and I'm unapologetic about it. I am not for the status quo. So what Donald Trump is doing, have at it, Hoss, because my people are at the bottom. Understand what I just said. If you're a black person, understand what I just said. Why would you, using basic logic, fight for a system that keeps you at the bottom? That doesn't make any sense. And I'm not fighting for a system that keeps me at the bottom. Well, if Donald Trump gets in there and he does this, whatever, you're going to be at the bottom. I'm already there. I'm already at the bottom. I'm already at the bottom. Matter of fact, a lot of stuff that Donald Trump is doing helps my people. The more illegals he gets out of this country, the less people I have to compete with, and my son has to compete with, and my grandkids have to compete with to get a job. College admission. A college could only have so many students. But see, we don't think like that. It's getting our emotions, and oh my God, oh God, oh God. You can't go to another country and do what we allow here in those other countries. Isn't that strange? All right, you guys, be blessed and get involved in your city council. Not for yourselves, for your children, for your grandchildren. You've got to make a stand for them. The revolution is not going to stop.